इंशाल्लाह हम अपना प्रोग्राम को आगे बढ़ाते हैं, बिस्मिल्लाह करते हैं किरात से। मैं भाई नियाज भाई से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं कि किरात से हमारा प्रोग्राम को आगाज करें। अस्सलाम वालेकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू। अल्लाह हाफिज।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातहू।
ओके।
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سنة من قد أرسلنا قبلك من رسلنا ولا تجد لسنتنا تحويلا. أقم الصلاة لدلوك الشمس إلى غسق الليل وقرآن الفجر إن قرآن الفجر كان مشهودا. إن قرآن الفجر كان مشهودا. ومن الليل فتهجد به نافلة لك عسى أن يبعثك ربك مقاما محمودا. وقل رب أدخلني مدخل صدق وأخرجني مخرج صدق واجعل لي من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. وقل جاء الحق وزهق الباطل إن الباطل كان زهوقا. وننزل من القرآن ما هو شفاء ورحمة للمؤمنين ولا يزيد الظالمين إلا خسارا.
Translation: established way for those we had sent before you of our messengers, and you will not find in our way any alteration. Establish prayer at the decline of the sun until the darkness of the night, and also the Quran of dawn. Indeed, the recitation of the dawn is ever witnessed, and from the night pray with it, that is the recitation of the Quran, as additional worship for you. It is accepted, it is expected that your Lord will resurrect you to a praise station. And say, my Lord, cause me to enter a good entrance, to a sound entrance, and to exit a sound exit, and grant me from yourself a supporting authority. And say, truth has come and falsehood has departed. Indeed, is falsehood ever bound to depart. And we sent down of the Quran that which is a healing and mercy for the believers, but it does not increase the wrongdoers except in loss. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair, Niyaz, for the beautiful recitation of Quranic verses. Now let me give a quick introduction about Namma Okuta. It is a Kannada word meaning our unity, a platform created by like-minded professional entrepreneurs to share ideas, thoughts, and experiences with each other. In Namma Okuta, we strongly believe community development starts from development of individuals. So our focus is individual development to bring out hidden talents. We have seen in our past session of blogging made a positive impact. After that inspirational session, few participants already started blogging, chasing their passion. This kind of positive impact Namma Okuta would like to create in our society. Please explore yourself. If you do not, then it will end with you. If not today, then when? Let us give back to society so that future generation will be proud of you. Today, we are presenting another exciting and important subject because it is a need of the hour. Audience, please note down. To make session more interactive, to hear your voice, we have placed a poll in between of keynote speech and at the end of keynote speech. So please be ready to cast your vote. Speaker will have limited time to address your queries in question answer session. So please be ready with your questions handy. Our keynote speaker is a well-known name in our community and he does not need introduction. Let me give a quick summary about our keynote speaker. He has MBA in management. Even he has studied entrepreneurship in the emerging market from Harvard University, world famous Harvard University. This proven entrepreneur having senior management role in leading telecom company of GCC. He has even worked in US, United States, Europe, Middle East, and Asia. Our expert speaker even addressed international business seminar, also attended as a panelist for Global Telecom Business Seminar in Dubai. He is also a co-partner of SM Marine Products and SM Fisheries. He is an advisor to various Gulf-based NGOs, strategic advisor and trustee for Shepherd International Academy. And he's also a president of the prestigious Paris Chamber of Commerce and Industry in UAE. He has many more credentials. If I start covering, then it will be a keynote speech from my side. Today, we are humbled with his gracious presence in our session as a keynote speaker. Without further ado, now it's a time to invite our keynote speaker, Janab SM Basheer Sahib. Over to you, sir. Janab Basheer Sahib, over to you.
All right, thank you, Salim Bhai. Thank you for that introductions. Allow me to greet each one of you, first of all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And I'm so glad to connect with all of you. You guys, Salim, you were able to hear me?
Yes, we do. Yes.
All right, thank you. So just a quick little corrections on that, your introductions, that I manage the market as far as the USA and Europe concerned. I didn't physically work over there. Just a small correction on the introduction.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. And, first of all, Namakuta has done a fantastic initiative, to be very honest, and this is the need of the hour, rightly mentioned. And it reflect your intentions, reflect your vision, basically, is when you're talking about Kuta. Kuta means unities. And I believe where there is a unities, there are always prosperities. And what you guys are doing is, connecting, collaborating and contributing and connecting with the people, collaborating with an experts and making sure that the platform contribute to the community for a development. To begin with, excellent job and a great initiative. I will be presenting you today some of the very important aspect of today's challenges. Basically, what are the opportunities that we can focus on as far as the professional concern. But also, same time, I will be also sharing with you guys the startup ideas and why I believe that everyone out there can be a startup entrepreneurs. And these are the essentials I'm going to share it with you. Some of the very interesting guidelines, ideas that I'll be sharing with you. So I request you always to stay connected. But before highlighting about the opportunities, job opportunities, and the startup idea, I think it's very, very important to highlight briefly about why we have reached this stage as far as the challenging phase concerned. Billions of people have locked down. No one has expected that the world will change dramatically in a short frame of time. I don't think this living generation has ever experienced such a challenge in their lifetime. And coronavirus, even the global pandemic outbreak, has literally put all of us in a very, very difficult stage. Perhaps what the economists and some of the experts suggest that this is the worst since the Second World War. And perhaps the recession is far worse than the 1930s, the global depressions as far as the economical challenge is concerned. And And I believe this is far severe, far worse than 2008 recession. And I tell you the reason briefly before I could move on to the main topics. We all faced those challenges in 2008. Many people out there, I mean, the people who are listening to me there, were a part of the 2008 recessions, and we worked in the Gulf countries. We stood up to the challenge. We faced those challenges. We came out. 2008, the reason behind those challenges, because that was the time the economy had a structural problem that triggered the global recessions. Stock market has collapsed, primarily a lot to do with the economy structural problem. But whereas 2020 is not an economy structural problem, this is the volunteer choice by the government to lock down the economy, shut down the business, and that's triggered the devastating impact. But the biggest problem is not uh, uh, started yet. I mean, we are not just talking about that. Are we over from this crisis? No, we are still in the middle of the crisis because we haven't even done with the virus. What the government authority predicts and suggests that is going to last for the second quarter of next year. That means it's going to take another 9 months to completely to declare that we are a virus-free world. But even the impact will be far severe, even beyond the COVID-19. So whatever I'm going to highlight today is a lot to do with the post-COVID and what are the opportunities that you really can focus on it. My only objective here today to how we can prepare ourselves to adopt the challenge and leverage on the opportunity that created by this challenge. International Monetary Fund has already declared, there's no doubt about it, that we have entered the recession as far as 2020 and 2021 concerned, which is far severe than 2008 recession. And post-COVID, the market dynamics will change, the industry's approach will not be the same. The policymaker has already started working on the re-strategizing their approach. The industry's expert has already started working on the re-strategizing the approach, because the post-COVID, the market approach will not be the same. So that's creating a lot of challenge, but at the same time, it will also create a lot of opportunity for us. And if you look into the crisis started since last 4 or 5 months, and it has devastated human life, society, business. But there is one thing that has enabled business to function. There is one thing that enabled the societies to function. There is one thing that has enabled to business to continue, but there is one thing has enabled to address the corona crisis or the pandemic, and that is the technology. And it's just because of the technology we were able to function the society the way we are functioning it. And imagine if without the technology, the human society would have been an absolutely disaster stage. It's not the first time that we're having such a pandemic. 100 years ago, we had another pandemic. That pandemic is known as the mother of all pandemic, which is the Spanish flu, which took place in 1918, has killed 50 million people. The reason that time was taken a 50 million people life, because that era didn't have those kind of a technology that we're having now. So the reason I'm highlighting the technology is because post-COVID, the business, the industries, the economies, everything will be driven by the technologies. So therefore, we need to more focus on how we can leverage on the opportunity created by the technology. And before even COVID-19, some of the disruptive technology, which I consider as the fourth industry revolutionary technology, like artificial intelligence, then robotics, 3D printings, drones, and blockchain and all, creating a huge positive impact. And these are the focus will be more because of the crisis. What happened is corona outbreak has literally exposed the weakness in our global system. The only way to manage and the only way to handle this situation is leveraging on the technology. So a lot today focusing on the opportunities on technology. And that's the reason I thought it was very important to highlight the crisis and what are the future lies ahead of all of us. Every time when there is a crisis crisis do bring a negative impact. All the same time, it also bring a positive impact. So it's important to understand the negative impact and then also to highlight the positive sectors that gain. And let me just start with the industries that are affected before I go with the main topic. Is the sectors that impacted heavily because of the COVID outbreak is to begin with the airline industries. The airline industries, ever since the outbreak took place, has grounded completely at the beginning. Of course, it has resumed in the operation, but with a limited scope. The airline industries will not be the same post-COVID. There are going to be significant changes in terms of their approach in terms of the strategy. And I'm sure people who connected with the airline industry perhaps maybe have lost their job, or maybe people are under a panic cloud because of the situation. So you can think about it where you can focus, and I'll tell you where to focus on the other side of my sessions. So hospitality industry is another industry that has impacted so badly. Primarily, there are two countries in Gulf countries, Dubai and Saudi, has hit so badly because both two countries are attract millions of people for different reasons. Dubai known as a global destination, and Saudi attract millions of people for Umrah and Hajj. So these two countries will have a challenging time as far as the global outbreak concerned. And then banking sector will continue to struggle even beyond the COVID-19. It's going to take a couple more years to settle down. Logistics is another industry is hit so badly because when we had outbreak, there was a disruption in the global supply chain that triggered huge impact, negative impact on the global the logistic sectors. Oil industry is another industry is struggling at this moment, especially the Gulf countries. All the Gulf countries' GDP is driven by oil, and what all the Gulf countries experiencing the lowest price of the oil since 20 years. The expert predicts if the oil price remains same for the remaining years, the Gulf is going to face a lot of challenges. Of course, Gulf is also focusing on the diversified economy. I will tell you later on how we can leverage on those diversified economy. And real estate is another industry is going to struggle. And as far as the commercial real estate is concerned, because working from home has created a new way of working as far as industry is concerned. Working from home will be the new normal going forward. And retail sector is another sector as hardly because of COVID-19. I'm sure thousands of people already lost job, and many people are in a concern and under the panic of there is uncertainties as far as certain sector is concerned. So you can also focus on the area that I'm going to highlight with you where you can focus. And global tourism is another industry that's hit so badly. The countries like Greece, Spain are going to struggle big time, because these are the countries' GDP is driven by the global tourism. And hotel and restaurants, you're all aware of that. Hotel and restaurants are having the toughest pace as far as their business concerned. Of course, they are changing their strategy. Let me now talk about and highlight with you the sectors that gained and because of the COVID-19 impact. And I said that crisis do bring opportunity for some sectors. So professionally, if you are listening to me, that these are the sector you can think about opening, and these are the sectors there will be a lot of opening is coming in. So the sectors I'm talking about is the health sector, because corona virus is in a health emergency issues, and therefore there's a reason that there was a emergency and people are rushing towards the hospital for one or other reasons. But everything is related to the health sector, is creating a lot of opportunities, and then the sector is booming, whether it is the pharmaceutical industries or the medical industries and equipment related and pertaining to the health sectors are gaining big time. Their stock market also making healthy progress. So these are the sectors gaining big time. So another sector is making huge because of the COVID outbreak is the technologies, is primarily the virtual conferencing. Today we are able to connect with each other, where I'm interacting with close to 100 people, and many people are watching me through live streaming and all these things. This is enabled, of course, because of the technology, but primarily the likes of Zoom, WebEx, and Microsoft Teams created a lot of positive growth for themselves. Before COVID-19, I don't think everyone is aware of Zoom. Today, Zoom is a household name. Before the outbreak, they had only 10 million subscriber base. Today, they got 300 million subscribers on a daily basis. And another area sector is making huge, and I want you to focus on this sector. And I'll tell you later on for professionals that what you need to do as far as this sector concerns the cloud providers, global cloud service providers like Microsoft, Azure, AWS, and Oracle, and IBM. They are coming up in this part of the world. They're coming to the region. There's a lot of opportunity will come out from these cloud players. I'll tell you exactly where you need to focus as far as the cloud player concerned. And is another sector is making huge because of the COVID outbreak is Netflix and Amazon. Billions of people, when they put a lockdown, and people are spending more time on the Netflix and Amazon, and then the telecom industry is also gained because this is the only industries enabled everything to functions. And is another industry is doing very well is the online e-lesson kind of a e-learning or e-lesson online lesson kind of a portal. The industry is doing well. You know, the prestigious institution likes of Stanford, Harvard, and Oxford universities are pushing a lot of their courses through online. So these are the sectors gaining a lot. Many other sectors, like whether it's the hygienic products industries, delivery mechanism or delivery service industries, home entertainment, and is another industries has gained like never before is a gaming, online gaming industries, and also software development companies are making it, because every corporate companies, whether it's a large, semi, SME, are now in the process of transforming to the automation or a digital mode. So these are the sectors that's making heavy. Now, let me start with my important topic. I mean, the focus for a professional, then I will go with the startup ideas. You know, as I mentioned earlier, the pandemic hasn't over yet. We are still in the middle of the pandemic, and it's still a long way to go. I mean, the government authorities suggest that it's going to last till March, April next year. So even assume that even it takes the middle of next year, the problem, the challenges will not be over, because post-COVID will have even more challenging as far as the business and the economy is concerned. So it's going to take 2 to 3 years to recover or revert back to at least for a normal mode. So this is the time we have enough time for ourselves to prepare, and this is the time we need to focus where we can focus, what we need to do, how we can adopt the changes, and how we can part of the changes. So that's what I'm going to highlight a little bit on this side of my session, and mostly for a professional people to look at it. You know, many years back, when you wanted to learn, you need to go to the online institutions, but now it has changed. I'll tell you how you can, just being at home, what kind of a skills that you need to enable yourself, whether it's an upgrade your skill or a reskill. I'll tell you why it's very, very important for all of us to upgrade our skill, and also to make sure that we got the diversified professional career. Because post-COVID, the market and the industries approach will not be the same. It has started changing. It is going to continue changing. Post-COVID, the industry is going to look for an entirely different workforce. The workforce which has the ability to adapt quickly, and part of the contribution just being a normal employee. They're going to look for a highly skilled people, and the employee and the workforce got the multitask skill. So, and what they're going to do is basically we call it as a PPC, which is the purpose and performance cultural process that most of the organizations are going to implement it. So when the automation takes place, many jobs that workforce used to do will be optimized. So that's the reason we all have a challenge, and every workforce will have a challenge as far as the post-COVID-19 concern. So what we need to do, if you think that there is a challenge, and how we can really prepare for ourselves, that's the reason that for me it's very, very important to highlight that we still have a time to prepare ourselves. I always used to say that fail to plan is actually planning to fail. So let me give you some of the guidelines that where you need to focus, and why I believe that upgrading the skills and learning a new skill is very important for the professionals. Now, what happened is that I told you the reason behind why you need to have the new skills, because the post-COVID industry is going to look for an entirely different. The people who had a high skill, and your traditional resume will not going to help you. You need to really rework on a resume. You make sure that just having an experience on your resume will not going to help you. Make sure that you've got enough required skills as far as the new industries, the new market is concerned. So before, as I said, there's a lot of challenge for you to learn the skills. You need to go to you need to physically to be somewhere as far as the institution concerned. There was a problem for you to manage your timing. You have to cope up with the institution or training institution's schedule. But today, just being at home, you're in a touch of your finger, you can learn a lot of skills. There are so many skills as available. You can learn it for free, but also you can learn it for an absolutely minimum amount. But you can really have some of the best institutions skill. They provide one of the best training. And I can share it with you later on with your team, and the team can and communicate with the rest of the members that which are the institution is offering free and where you really need to focus, because those are the institution offering the skills and the required training, keeping the post-COVID industries in mind. Now, one of our biggest problem is that all of us is that, we typically working with one particular profession. The accountant wants to live his rest of life just being an accountant. The back office guy wants to work the rest of life as a back office guy. The IT support wanted to be an IT support. That's a problem. Then the challenges post-COVID will have, because many work will be optimized by the digitalization. So what are you going to do that time? That's the reason you need to have a multi-task skill. So that's the reason reskill is very important. An accountant can be a very successful sales executive, and an IT guy can be a very successful sales manager, and a procurement guy can be a very effective sales guy. All you need to do, you don't need to go to the college to learn all these things. All you need to do is that you need to make sure that you learn all the skills. It is available. So the institution will offer you, the online institution will offer you various level of skills. So for me, it's very important to touch base with you all that learning a new skill is essential. It's very important. Now, let me tell you that as far as the job opportunity is concerned, which industry that you need to focus. And as mentioned about the digitalization going to take place, and the cloud player will have a major role to play. The cloud players, some of the biggest global cloud players, likes of Microsoft, AWS, Oracle, and IBM, will have a huge role to play in terms of transforming in all the sectors into a new era. Now, before a couple of years back, because I am well connected with this particular sector, because I coming from the telecom background, a couple of years in every the enterprise segment or in the corporate companies in Gulf countries want to connect to the cloud, they need to take their the traffic all the way to Dublin, Ireland, or Europe to connect to the cloud player server. But whereas now for the last 1.5 years, even before the outbreak, the cloud player likes of Microsoft, AWS has created their own setup in Gulf countries. I'm sure you're all aware of that. AWS created, which is Amazon, has created a first compute node in Bahrain, and also they created a major edge node in Dubai. These are the two segments going to cover the entire Middle East. And I tell you why this is very important in terms of development. And also, Microsoft has established some of the two biggest data center in UAE. This is going to serve the entire Middle East. The reason why, because before all the corporate segment, the enterprises sector used to connect to the Europe. Now all the servers are brought close to your doorstep. So people and the enterprises will be creating all those kind of a connectivity within the region. So what is the benefit for all of us having this kind of a development? The two things you will have it. One, these are the global big players going to come up with a lot of openings, job openings. So you can become a cloud sales specialist. You can become a cloud solution architect. You don't need to necessarily to be engineer. If you're an engineer, if you're an IT background, it will become more easy for you to become a specialist. But even if you're having a basic sales experience, you can be a cloud sales provider in this region. So a lot of sales is going to come in, and you need to reach out to these companies, sectors to see what are the openings. It's another reason why I feel, because most of the telecommunications companies are looking to resell this product, because these are the solution provided by the global player, but this will be resale by all those telecommunication company in the region. So a lot of job opportunity, they are looking for specialized only in this area as a cloud players. And many companies, when they wanted to migrate to all these cloud segment, they also need somebody who has the knowledge and a background. So you can focus more on these areas. Is another, the technology is going to create a lot of positive impact in the region is post-COVID is SD-WAN. I don't know how many you are aware of SD-WAN, which is a software-defined network. Every company wants to optimize their network costs. They're going to deploy SD-WAN, because just to give you an IT guy will definitely understand that the telecommunication cost is one of the highest costs any corporate company will have. So if they're having a recurring charges 100,000, the SD-WAN will bring down to 10,000. See the difference between the expenditure from the OPEX from the 100,000 to a 10,000. So therefore, all the companies are looking for an SD-WAN kind of a solution. So you can learn SD-WAN. The the segment that I was discussing about, whether it's a cloud or a SD-WAN, you can sitting at home, you can learn all those skills. I will share it with the team in Muscat so that they can share it with you where you can focus learning all those skills. It's very important that you learn. It's another area the professional can really look at it learning a digital marketing and social media management marketing is. And I hope you're taking down all those uh, the point that I'm trying to highlight so that you can focus it on later. And digital marketing is very important to learn because post-COVID, this is a segment is going to create a lot of job opportunities. Companies going to look for people who has those kind of skills and experience and background. Another social media management means as part of the digitalization, a lot of companies going to push a lot of their product through the e-commerce or using the technology. So they need an effective social media management who has an abilities to manage all the company's social media. So when you have a certificate, when you have a skills based on that the company is going to look for it. Another area that you can really learn, and there is a job opportunity that you can look for, is the virtual project management. This is going to come in a lot because company is going to optimize a lot of their costs as far as the workforce concerned. That they're going to look for who can manage virtually because the COVID-19 has enabled everyone to work from home remotely, and it has become a new normal now. And they have seen efficiency, by the way. They've seen a more productivity working remotely. So a lot of virtual project management job opportunities going to come in. So you can look at it, learn those skills, make sure that you build your resume, build your diversified resume based on the skills and based on the opportunities. Content creation is another area I suggest you to focus as part of the digitalizations. The content creation will have a huge demand, and most of the companies going to look for workforce has the background as far as the content creation concerned. Because unlike before, a lot of people now are focusing on the video content, and there are less people are going to read out the script. So the content creation will have a huge demand. If you can learn content creation, I'm sure you'll have more opportunities in the coming months. And the copywriting is another industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. Not many is aware of, especially in the Gulf countries. And I want you to learn and understand what is copywriting. So copywriting is another industry, is creating a huge job opportunities where copywriting is don't need to be a writer. As long as you understand the basic market, basic product, basic sales. It's all about taking customers, the company's valuations, company product, and to the market through a kind of a writing. So you call it as a copywriter as far as the company concerned. And then outbound sales skills is another skills I want you to focus on. The more companies going to look for an outbound sales specialist. And team management, another area. And these are some of the areas that you really can focus and learn and look for an opportunities. But these are the opportunities going to come in for sure, because as I said, that market dynamics is changing it completely, and they're looking for these kind of professionals. And another area that I suggest you to focus, and if it is not for you, if it is your children studying, if your brother or sisters are studying, and I advise you to encourage them to focus more on machine learning, artificial intelligence, big data, and data science. These are the areas going to dominate post-COVID. These are the areas projected to replace the 30 million job worldwide by 2030. But you don't need to wait for the 2030 because COVID has changed the business approach, the industry approach. This is going to accelerate, and industry specialists expect that 2025 instead of 2030, millions of jobs will be replaced by these kind of an artificial intelligence, whether it's machine learning, big data, or data scientists. What you need to do is that even the doctors, the majority of doctors' work will be replaced by the robotics in going forward. So, these are the areas I suggest you to focus more. If the technology, if it is actually replacing the job, but at the same time, technology is also creating a lot of job opportunity, but only for those who are specialized in technology. So these are the nutshell about the job opportunity that I want to talk about it. But the next, I'm going to start with the very important session, which is a startup. The startup, before I start the startup, I'll tell you, Brother Salim, when to start the polling. But I tell you the reason why I picked these startup ideas, because I don't want to come up with a business idea that you need to invest like $1 million, or you need to invest for a 5 crore, 10 crore rupees to establish a factories, plants. No, that's not the intention. I'm here because keeping a professionals in mind, keeping the business people, entrepreneurs in mind, how you can become an entrepreneur, how you can become a startup entrepreneur in a very simple, in a feasible manner, an achievable manner with a very little capital. You can really achieve what you dream to achieve. So that's the area that I'm going to focus. And before I could start my startup ideas, okay, they're very interesting that the startup idea is not only for a business people. These startup ideas will make you a professional to become an entrepreneur. Those are the idea that I'm going to share it with you. And Salim, if you can just start the quick minute or 2 minutes poll before I could take the
sure.
startup.
Sure. Before we could start our polling, can you just maintain some more distance with the screen because you're appearing partially
Okay.
behind. Okay. Brother Tajuddin, can you please start poll number 1? Yeah. Audience, can you please attend this poll? This is just to understand, the current status according to you. Get a fair idea what you think about startups. So we have under 30 seconds to go. So this poll will be there for a minute, and after that we are closing it. Please cast your response as quickly as possible. 20 seconds to go. Bashir sir, once polling is done, we'll show you the result so that you can get an idea what audience think about this question.
Sure.
Brother Tajuddin, maybe you can close it now. Okay. Can you see the result, Janab Bashir sir?
Yes, I can see a 98%, the overwhelming percentage wants us to show an interest in to become a startup. Still 2%, I don't know why, but I'm sure after my session, and I'm sure that the 2% also will be converted into a 100%.
Inshallah, inshallah. So we can go ahead with the second question. Brother Tajuddin, can you start polling of second question? Okay. Okay, this is the second question. Please cast your vote. It will be there for under few seconds. 20 seconds is over.
$30 more seconds left. $10 seconds left.
Okay, Janab Bashir Saab, can you able to see the?
Sure, I'm able to see that. 68% people said that they have a plan for a future job and also have a business plan for the next 10 years, 68%, which is fantastic, which is a very, very positive things. And 32% people mentioned that they don't have any plan for the next 10 years or a business or a job plan. I think the objective of today is also to create a plan, prepare for ourselves. I think even 1% of the people can gain out of today's session. I think that will be worth putting all those effort that we are putting it. Right, fantastic. So let me start with my startup ideas.
Okay, before you could start, still you're appearing partially in the screen. Maybe you can maintain some more distance.
Okay, I'm sure. I think you are able to see now. Yeah.
No, same thing. Maybe you have to position yourself a little behind.
Okay.
Some more.
Okay. I think it's okay. All right, we'll manage it.
Okay, no problem. Sorry. Continue.
Okay.
Sorry.
So let me start with my startup ideas. And I think it's very important to understand the concept of startup. When you understand the concept of startup, then you can explore, or you will definitely want to become one of these startup entrepreneurs. The biggest problem all of us that we fail to understand the concept, the true concept of a startup. And I want to explain you the concept of a startups, and I want to really give you some kind of a guidance. What are the essential required? And in fact, I'm going to give you some of the secret ingredients to become a startup entrepreneur. And all you need to do is that get those ideas, get those ingredients, and then you can cook yourself to become one of the startup successful entrepreneur. The concept of startup, if you think that you are an individual, want to establish a company and yourself, that's not considered as a startup. That's considered as a businessman or an entrepreneur. Startup means it's not a one individual. Startup means is a group of people getting together, taking an initiative to find a solution problem for a problem. It's not a one person, it's a group of people, like a 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a group of people getting together, taking an initiative to find a solution for a problem. So that is the true sense of a startup company or a startup entrepreneur. This is the true concept of a startup. Now, it will help you. Why? Because by explaining you the concept of startup, now you know that, no, I think it's better to get like-minded people together, 3, 4, 5 people, so we can discuss the ideas, we can discuss the problem, and come up with some of the solution that we can create a successful startup entrepreneurship. Now, I want to tell you, and also wanted to talk about some of the true story before I could start giving you an idea. The reason why I wanted to give you those true story, because with this story, it's not just I want all of us to be inspired. It's not only my purpose and not only to get inspired, but also it will give you the reason behind the establishment of a startup company. There is a purpose. Every startup companies, every successful startup companies in the world, they have established for a purpose. And when you know the purpose behind, then you will start thinking, yes, if they can do it, certainly I can do it. Because the problem that you have faced in your life, what they have done it, they have converted those problem into a great business opportunity. That is the difference between us and them. Now, by guiding you, by explaining you, you will now start thinking about, yes, I've been gone through all these problems. I never thought that those problems will create an opportunities. That's the difference between the minds. I believe in every adversity lies an opportunities, and crises do bring an opportunities. Let me start giving you some of an inspiring true story before I start giving you the startup ideas. I'm sure you have heard about Airbnb. Airbnb is the multi-billion-dollar company. The company valuation is, as of now, is 30 to 35 billion-dollar companies. And once upon a time, the co-founder of Airbnb had no money to pay their apartment rent. Airbnb stands for basically, air, bed and breakfast. That's the stand for this Airbnb. Now, what happened in 2008? This is a classic true story. I want everyone to understand. More than understanding their stories, more than getting inspired, I want you to learn a lesson from here, how they converted a problem into a startup companies. 2008, 3 colleagues staying in San Francisco, trying to establish themselves in a different sectors, struggling to settle down themselves in 2008. Among two of them were a designer by profession. One guy is a technical guy. And that was the time they started having a problem because the owner of the apartment increased their apartment rent for a 25%. They were struggling to pay a 25% increased rent, and then they started discussing themselves, so what to do now? We cannot even pay a basic rent now. The landlord has increased the 25%, so it's going to be really challenging. So what we can do? They face this problem, but among the 3, there are 2 people who are a designer, and they know that there is a designer conference is scheduled to take place in San Francisco in that particular month. So they thought that there is the designer conference is taking place in San Francisco, in the same city. There are 1,000 people are going to come in as a visitor. There will be huge demand for the hotels. There will be a problem for every visitor because they wanted to find an affordable accommodations. And that is the time they said that we have a 2-bedroom apartment. We are struggling to pay our rent. Why can't we rent out one of our bedroom? And I'm sure we will find many guests to come and occupy during this time. That's how they came up with an idea. So they didn't had actually bed or mattress or anything, but one of the roommate had a air bed, the bed with an air bed. So that's how the name came, Airbnb. So they put this air bed in one room and put an advertisement. Without no time, they got the guests to live in their apartment. See how they converted a problem into a solutions. And once upon a time, they didn't have money to pay a rent, went on to become a 30 to 35 billion dollar company owners. This is the one. So let me give you another story connecting somebody's in a back home in India. And I'm sure, I don't know how many people know about Bhavish Agarwal. He's a founder of Ola Cabs. And it's a classic story. And the reason I'm bringing this story because what Bhavish has gone through, you, me have gone through in our life. The difference between you, me, and the Bhavish is that he converted that problem into a beautiful business solutions, whereas we thought of one of those problems we moved on to in our life. What happened for Bhavish is in Maharashtra, in Mumbai. We had a very bad experience one of the weekend when he was going for a weekend. He had a very bad experience, created a lot of inconvenience from in a taxi. Middle of nowhere, the taxi driver started negotiating for the higher price. And that created a lot of problem for Bhavish. And Bhavish used to work for Microsoft that time. He was not even an entrepreneur. Now, do you remember yourself that how many times you've gone through this kind of a inconvenience when you step into a different city other than your own city? I have experienced a lot of times, different part of India, there is a one mindset always where we thinking that the taxi guy is taking a longer path to make more money. And I'm sure everyone out here has this kind of a, some kind of a psychological thinking saying that, because it's not just a psychological thinking, because there was a problem created by the industry, taxi industries, that they will take you the longer route to make more money, creating an inconvenience. So for us, I face the problem. I'm sure you face a problem, but we couldn't find a solution. We didn't thought of this problem can be an opportunity. But what Bhavish did it, he thought that no, this problem, we need to find a solution. That's how he came up with an Ola cab kind of a, the automation they created is to transform the entire taxi industries in India, went on to become a billion-dollar company. Look, that's how you need to. The reason I'm giving all these things, and I want you to find out what are the problems that COVID-19 imposed on all of us. What do you think that you are experiencing a problem? What do you think that your colleagues, your friends, your network is experiencing the problem, and find a solution that problems. And I can give you some of the problem later on. It's up to you to if you think that is worth taking as a startup. Now, there's another classic story I want to talk about to you. The youngest entrepreneur in India that ever produced. He went on to become a multi-millionaire at the age of 21. And I'm sure you know that Ritesh Agarwal is the owner of the co-founder of the Oyo, the hotel chains. At the age of 17, he started to become an entrepreneur, and he was a college dropout. He didn't even complete his degrees. He struggled. He identified the problems that you and me, everyone wanted to have a quality standard room, but a very affordable price. You don't get it, a quality standard room in the hotels for an affordable price. That's how he find the problem, and then he converted that problem into a solution. Today, Ritesh Agarwal is worth of a $15 billion company, listed one among the 15th global the hotel chains, competing with some of the biggest giants in the Europe and USA. And he's also dominating in not only in India and Europe, but also in the Chinese market. So that shows that how he converted a problem into a solution. Let me give you another classic example for our own Gulf. And I'm sure you know Kareem, but have anyone thought of why they have established the Kareem? There is a classic story behind Kareem. It's not just only they converted a problem into a solution, but also there was a generosity behind the establishment of Kareem. There are two colleagues used to travel a lot, and I travel a lot, and I face sort of problems. And I'm sure business executives out here will always have challenges when you go for a business meeting for a different countries. That's the biggest challenging, finding the right transportation on the right time. And that's the problem they face. They thought how we can transform this one. But at the same time, they also see a noble cause behind the establishment of Kareem. So see, market research is very important. I'll tell you later. Startup company is not just an idea, but you need to make sure that you do a market research before even launching a startup companies. Now, what happened? They came to UAE and they met the resource. Resource is very important. For their resource is nothing but a private taxi or a limousine owner. So the first interview they did with one of the hotel in Abu Dhabi, and they interacted with the one Bangladesh driver, and they really surprised and shocked to hear the feedback from the Bangladesh driver. He was telling that I hardly getting 2 pickups every day. Forget about I'm sending money back home. I can't even eat 3 times food per day, and I'm also struggling to pay my rent. So they see that is a great cause to empowering such a people, but also solving the problem. That's how the name came with Kareem. The meaning of true Kareem is a generosity. Today, he's a history, and even it has enforced Uber to buy, and Uber has acquired Kareem for a $3.1 billion company. There's another, I have a, this has come with a great noble cause. And I have another very close friend of mine who's, I'm associated with him in Dubai. I don't want to mention his name, but he came up with an idea. He's a very successful entrepreneur himself. But recently he had shared with me a fantastic idea that he came up with an app called Willingly, and he's going to launch it inshallah in September. Look at how he converted one of the challenging and problem is not somebody's, I'm quoting an outsider, I'm quoting someone within my own circle. He came up with an idea. One of his relatives passed away, when he died, passed away, and the family members not aware of what kind of a money he has to pay for somebody, or what kind of a money he has in somewhere. That means the family member is not aware of his liabilities or his asset. So he coming up with an amazing, most innovative business, the entrepreneurship or a startup concept with enabling that nobody will know, but once somebody's passed away, his immediate family member will have all the information related to his liabilities and the asset. You may think that, of course, family will know, but majority of people who give a lot of money to others, maybe they have to even pay for somebody else, but this is not recorded in anywhere. So this one app will enable you to record everything, your things, and he's creating an amazing technology once the person passed away, and without all these technologies, it will be driven by the technology and artificial intelligence. An amazing concept I'm giving you for you to understand how you can convert a problem into solutions. And another last story I wanted to give you before I'm giving you other ideas is I don't know if you have anybody heard about Red Bus. Red Bus is another fast-growing multi-millionaire startup companies in India. The guy who's faced a problem because he's an Hyderabad, he's working in Bangalore, and he missed to celebrate a festival. Most important festival for the person is the Diwali. So he couldn't make it because he's in Bangalore. He wanted to be in Hyderabad just the day before the Diwali. He couldn't make it. The reason why, because he thought it's easy to go and have a book a bus, and then just a few hours he will be in Hyderabad. Unfortunately, what happened is that there is no mechanism, there is no automation, there is absolutely no process, nothing. And in fact, he cannot even go and buy a ticket in any travel agency because of the traffic. And I'm sure you all are well aware of Bangalore traffic. So he faced the problem. He had a challenge to the extent he missed spending his Diwali with his loved one. But he didn't just left like us, but he thought that if I have a problem, millions will have a problem. He converted a problem into a great opportunity. Today, he had actually transformed the bus industries. Today, he owned 10,000 buses. He didn't buy the bus, but he created that network running in across 15 cities across India, one of the fast growing multi-millionaire startup company. So you got an idea now why these startup companies are succeeding it. They're converting a problem into great opportunities. Now, I will give you some of the ideas, and I think which area that you can really focus, but it's very important to give you an understanding why I believe that you have everything to make yourself become one of the successful entrepreneur, because the entrepreneurship is in our DNA. That's, you need to believe in yourself. We are a business communities, and I want to take you and connect you briefly about the history that We are business communities. 130 years ago, according to the census, 1891, Dakshina Kannada had a 95,000 businessmen. And among those 95,000 businessmen were from our communities. We were a majority business communities towards the end of an 18th or towards the end of 19th century. But towards the end of 20th century, things has changed and changed forever. From a majority of a 95%, we came down to 20%. From an extraordinary business community, we become a minority business community for over 130 years. Do you know the reason why? And I tell you the reason why we become a minority from a 95% to 20%, because we lacked having an ecosystem in our communities. We don't have an ecosystem in our communities. Look at Bohri communities, why they are so dominant, why they are so successful, because they have a solid ecosystem within their communities. We do not have an ecosystem in our communities. Perhaps that's one of the reasons why 4.5 years we have established the Barry Chamber of Commerce and Industry with the core objective to create an ecosystem. One of our objectives to also to build a new 50 to 1 lakh new entrepreneurship for the next 20 to 30 years. But today what Namakuta has done is another part of the ecosystem. You have created a platform where we can communicate, a guide, and create an entrepreneurship, a way forward for an entrepreneurship. This was lacking in many years. So that's the reason I believe, because coming from the family, we are traditionally in the business communities, we have everything to become an entrepreneurship. And I believe that our community is businessship and entrepreneurship in our DNA. And let me give you some of the ideas, and I believe that you can really explore to become a startup entrepreneurship. And I gave you all those guidance, the essential, the concept of a startup entrepreneurship. Now, it's very important that the collective business approach is very important. You need to identify the right mindset, the people who have the ability to contribute. Money doesn't play a major role as far as the startup company concerned. Money is the least priority. What is the most important thing? The idea is very important, but you need to make sure that you got the right people that can contribute. You can find millions of who can be an investor. If you have a great ideas, definitely you will find an investor. That's not going to help you. What is going to help you, that you need to have a right kind of a group of people who can contribute, and that's why you need to find. If you have the right people, and if you build a startup company based on the values of a trust, transparency, honesty, and the respect, nothing can go wrong, because these are the very important values that you can build a successful startup companies. Now, let me give you where I think got a great opportunities, and I want you to focus. The reason why, because I'm keeping everything on the COVID crisis and also post-COVID. The reason why, as I mentioned many times, the market approach is changing and will continue changing. Post-COVID, the industry will not be the same industry that you have experienced the pre-COVID. There are so many things will be driven by the technology. The economy will be driven by the technology. The industry will be driven by the technology. Process, procedure, policy, everything will be driven by the technology. Therefore, I feel a great opportunity for you on e-commerce. A lot I'm going to give you an idea on the e-commerce. And I tell you, e-commerce is very, very important, very essential. The reason why, before COVID, it's nice to have an e-commerce shopping. And I'm one of the e-commerce shopper, and I do a lot of shopping on the e-commerce. But the reason why it was nice to do a shopping on the e-commerce, but my behavior, the consumer behavior has changed from a nice to a must because of the COVID. Before COVID, it was nice to have, and after COVID, it's a must to have, because that kind of the situation created. So a lot of people has become the e-commerce shopper, because it was a very must. And going forward, technology will enable a lot. And I tell you why technology will enable a lot, so that e-commerce will have a fantastic opportunities going forward. Let me give you two classic story of a Carrefour. I'm sure Gulf people well aware of Carrefour. Is a premium hypermarket. Traditionally, they are located, or strategically they're located in a mall, and a prestigious mall. The reason why, because they wanted to attract thousands of traffic on daily basis. Look at what happened COVID-19. They are also changing their strategy. They're pushing a lot of their traffic products through an e-commerce. Carrefour never witnessed the growth that they have seen a growth in the recent times because of the e-commerce. 300% they have seen the surge in the e-commerce business as far as the Carrefour concerned. Is another one, Mom's World. I'm sure every sister is aware of Mom's World. I've seen an 800% growth. Can you believe it? Not a 10%, 20%, 100%, 800% growth in the Mom's World e-commerce. Many retail sector are diverting their business on e-commerce. They're coming up with a new strategy, adopting a lot of technology. So the e-commerce will have a great opportunity. So what do you think that what I can suggest you to become and what you can, I'm not telling you that do what Amazon is doing, copy what Flipkart is doing. I don't want to talk about and give you, and I'm sure you can do that, but I want to give you in the e-commerce and the different things. If you wanted to open a store in a mall, you need to invest 20, 30, 40, 50 lakhs Indian rupees, whether it is in Gulf or in India. You need to really, have a lease out or rent out in some mall. But the scalability is very limited when you put your showroom in a mall, because only that is aimed at to cover that part of the city. But in e-commerce, the beauty of the e-commerce is the scalabilities. You can take beyond the city, you can take beyond a border. Now, what I suggest you to give an idea is create a virtual store in e-commerce. It's an amazing concept. You can create it, not replicating it like, listing out 100 products. No, create a typical store. Come up with an amazing 10 specialized store. To create a virtual store, you don't need to own the product. That's the beauty. You need to identify some specialized showrooms and have a tie-up with them, integrated with them, collaborated with them. Everyone will jump into it, because end of the day, you're going to increase their market share. You're going to bring more revenue for them. It's a win-win situation. Instead of bringing a people to the store, you are taking a store to people's doorstep. But you need to create in such a way in an e-commerce that somebody click that particular store, maybe an electronics store, grocery store, garment store, you name it, that the store need to enable how somebody physically have an experience, but you're going to give them a virtual experience. In addition, what you can do it, one of the challenge the e-commerce is facing, the people interaction. You can enable video interactions where the people can have a live interactions. If there's somebody wants to understand the qualities, the size and everything, that's going to create a lot of positive impact. This is one idea you can look at it. And another idea I want to talk about is the virtual mall. I'll tell you why virtual mall is very important. Post-COVID, most of the countries are focusing on the digital economy. And Bahrain is the first GCC countries to announce the digital economy. And in fact, the government has announced the virtual mall, allowing only the people residing in the Bahrain. So this is a government initiative. Why can't a group of people create in a virtual mall? The experience that people can get in the mall, why can't you create it in a virtual mall? You can replicate every store in the mall, similar in the virtual mall. It's a great opportunity for people who are located in the mall, because you are creating one more sales channel for them. This is one area. There's another idea I can give you. Why can't you create a street shopping, a virtual street shopping? And I tell you why virtual street shopping. People in early 90s, and I started my early careers and started in my Gulf careers in the early 90s. And the first time I came to Mumbai is for a medical in 90s. And people 90s, early 90s aware of that you have to go to Bombay for a medical. So that was the time there was one street was very famous, fashion street. And I visited twice to buy some of the clothes in fashion streets. The reason why, because you get the very latest design with a very cheap price. So, that street has certain specialities. Similarly, I did a couple of times, late 90s, shopping in Bangalore, Brigade Road and MG Road, because those are the road known for branded items or latest things, because that's the only reason I went to that. Why can't you create a virtual MG Road, virtual Brigade Road, virtual fashion street? And, one cities, I'm sure the people in Dubai knows that there is a Meena Bazaar. Meena Bazaar known for providing a certain Indian items. So why can't you create a similar things? You need to replicate. You need to have a tie-up with those people who are already having a shops. Replicate. I'm just giving you some of the ideas, and you have to think about your own areas. So these are the things you need to do it. As another ideas I want to give it to you is the white painting, which we call it as the white labeling. It's a fantastic idea for for a women or men's. See, all those startup ideas is applicable for both, not just for a man, but also for a women. Because startup company, you don't need to be an outside. You can be at your house. You can build your startup companies. Now, the white labeling is all about creating an amazing, the garments designing. Thousand occasions there. People are looking for custom design kind of whether it's a name wise or the design the mother wants, the sister wants, the father wants. You can design it. You don't need to be a designer. You just need to have an idea. You can find a designer. You have the factories also. You just need to bridge and create this fantastic opportunity for you. That's how you have to come up with the startup concept on these things. Another area that I believe it's not necessarily a startup company, but if you really wanted to set up a company, right time for you to set up an IT support and software consulting company. This company will have a huge opportunity, because every enterprise customer, from the large organization to the SME sector, no choice, but they have to transform their company into an automation mode, and they need a support. A lot of and also the people are wanting to create a lot of apps, a lot of websites, and this will create a lot of demand. So focusing on setting up a software company support and consult content is a fantastic idea. So another idea I want to give you, and before I want to give you idea, I think this is more suitable for everybody, but especially for women in our communities. If sisters are listening to me, I think this is one of the fantastic idea. I can give it to you. In women empowering, we're talking about women empowering in our communities. People think women empowering is all about giving an education. It's not. Women empowering is at 20, 30 years ago, that was a requirement of an empowering education. Today, our women, our girls, our sisters in our families, our communities are far ahead as far as education concerned. And it's not, it does not mean giving an education is empowering. It's a fundamental right. The rights to food, the rights to water, similarly, rights to education is a right. It's not empowering. Empowering means when they become when they have educated, when they've attained all those qualifications, education, skill. But if you don't give them an opportunity to utilize those skills, that is the time you're not empowering. You can empower anybody's, but without breaking the barriers. Being at home, you can be an entrepreneurship or the startup entrepreneurship. I think 2 weeks ago, you had a session conducted by, I think, Sister Shanaz Rafiq. I think she's a classic role model, and she has a certain example. I'll tell you why she's a certain example, because she created herself a name and a brand without breaking the barriers, within the values. That's an amazing one can do it. But there are so many other professions that you can do it in similar manner, just being at home. So I want to give you an idea for sisters, because you are very educated, spending a lot of time at home. And by the way, this applies for everybody's, not just for women's, but also men's. Why can't you focus more on giving a tuition on online? And I see this is a problem in the Gulf countries, because my children's gone through a challenging time, because tuition is the biggest hardship here. And most of the time teachers are not focusing on their class. So I was just referring to one of the problem in the Gulf you face for the parents because of the getting any tuitions for their children. So that's a problem, and I'm sure every parents will go through. And why can't you create an opportunity out of these problems? Sisters sitting at home, the women sitting at home, they can create an amazing concept for themselves in a couple of hours or 3-4 hours. Create a schedule for your for a tuitions for a specialized subject, and then provide a tuitions and online tuitions. And if you're not specialized in a teaching, you don't need to worry about it, because as long as you have the concept, as long as you have an idea, and you can convert those to an idea, you need to find out, maybe you will find out some of the specialists or teachers who's looking for an income source. That's how you're going to become, that's how you're going to have the revenue sharing module. So that's how we need to work out. See, the startup ideas, you don't need to be a solution specialist. You don't need to be a product specialist. All you need to have an idea. You need to understand the concept. There is a problem, and I'm sure I can come up with a solution. As long as you have a concept, you need to find who can help you to create that kind of a solutions. So this is the one area that you can look at it. Another one is a QMath is another advanced or innovative the technology, innovative teaching is in demand, and online will help you and enable you. Look at it to becoming an QMath tutor on the online. There's another area I can give you an idea for you to look at it is the home kitchen. The home kitchen is in Gulf countries particularly. A reason why, because majority are bachelors in the Gulf countries, and everyone has a wish of having a home cooked food. And I'm sure when I started my careers many years ago, when I was a bachelor, and I had those wish to have a home made food. But the challenge is you don't get a homemade food unless you visit your relatives or your friends' family house. So there is a millions of bachelors working in the Gulf. You can create in a home kitchens. Either if you are a specialist, if you are a cook, it's fine. If you are not a specialist, as I said, you don't need to worry. You need to identify who are specialists in some of the cook and cooking and all. You need to just collaborate with them, agree on a revenue sharing module. Another area that you can also focus on e-cooking, and the e-cooking is really an important area that you can create a startup, successful startup. And I'll tell you why. 30-40 years ago, every girls in our communities, learning cooking is an essential, because that is the primary responsible to get married. And the education was 7th grade or 10th grade. I'm talking about 20, 30 years ago. But now education is not an issue. They are more graduated than the men's. But one of the challenging is that the new generation is facing is understanding the skill of cooking. I'm not talking about basic cooking. Basic cooking anybody can do it, but in a specialized. Why can't you come up with an amazing course, like an hour course, 2-hour course? You can have your recorded version, but also you can have an interaction basis, because technology is enabling you. Come up with a subscription basis, like maybe talking about in real wise 100 dirhams or 200 dirhams is not too much for one course. And I got two daughters. I have 2 daughters, and if somebody have this ability to teach some specialists, I will be your customer for sure. And I'm sure you will have a millions of such a parents are looking for their children to learn those specialized skills. The beauty here, the market, the platform is scalable. You don't need to teach only people surrounding you. You can teach sitting in Oman, sitting in Dubai. You can teach people, parents, or the children, even in India also. That's the beauty of an e-commerce. And another area that you can really look at it is the fitness program. The COVID has changing the mindset from a beauty to immune. A lot of people, especially in our communities, need the guidance, the training, and you can become an online the fitness training. By the way, if you think you are not a specialist, you don't need to be a specialist. Identify someone who has an ability to teach the fitness and create that bridge between the market and the someone who knows, and you become an enabler. That's how you're earning an income source. Is another area you can also come up with a startup is an online training. And this is something that you can really make it huge, because the post-COVID, as a lot of online training is taking place. If you think that you have those ability to becoming a trainer, that's fantastic. But if you think that no, you don't have it, you don't need to worry. For identify the trainers, a lot of trainers out there, and they can you can create them as your resources, create an online training. And I can give you an example that some of the leading the online the training institution in India now as more shift to an online training. And guess what happened? They have a scale. Before only they're focusing on India. Now they're covering of 10, 11 countries. See, that's the beauty of the e-commerce. And another area that I think there is a great opportunities with the greater cost. This startup ideas has a noble cause, because learning Islamic e-lessons, because one of the challenges in our community has sending our children to a madrasa, or especially in the Gulf countries, it's very difficult to find the ustads and all. You can create an e-lesson on online. Believe me, this will have a good impact. If not on the income wise will certainly will have, but you're going to contribute on the society on a positive side. And digital marketing is another company that you can think of establishing it on a startup level, and 3-4 people are getting together. You know, I wanted to tell you before I'm winding up, because I want to take up the question and answer soon. Before I could wind up, I want to tell you one thing is very important here. When you take an initiative, you will find a different kind of a feedback in the market, feedback from the peoples. Maybe you thought that somebody has a great technique, skill. I have an idea. Let me discuss with this gentleman, or maybe he can be a part of my collaborations. But if you say yes, it's a fantastic because everyone wants to be a part of it. But if you say no, that shouldn't consider as a rejection. And for a market research, if you think you got a problem and you're gonna reach out to the market to understand that market really understand that this is a problem, the market will certainly say yes. If one among the market say no, that does not mean a rejection. Consider for a such initiative, no means a next opportunities. The no stance in such scenario is a next opportunity. Consider if when someone says no, say fantastic, that means the next opportunity, move on to the second phase. And there's another area that I want to highlight with you, and then I will conclude my startup ideas, is that I want you to really focus on the e-commerce, particularly all those ideas that I mentioned will have a great opportunities because technology is going to accelerate and that will really enable and help you. You will realize my word, not now. You will realize that what I'm trying to highlight or emphasize or pressing it on 2 years from now. And that is the time if you think that you want to initiate something, perhaps maybe that'll be too late. But if you think that you're going to do something now, you can't build your successful entrepreneurship overnight. Every billionaire startup companies took their own time to become an entrepreneur. So they have experienced hundreds of rejections. Today, they created millions of jobs. So it's another area if you really wanted to focus on the Amazon. People think that how I can be associated with an Amazon. There is a concept in Amazon, a business associate. You can, without a free charge, you don't need to invest anything. There are certain policy process you need to follow, register, all these things. All you need to do, some of the best product in the Amazon, you need to promote using your own network. That's called business associate. The most of the social media influencer, the people who are writing, in Insta or many people are using this technology to earning income. All you need to do is that list out those products in your own network, create your own website. If you're a blogger, that's another fantastic idea, because if you believe in certain product, you can really promote that product because you just need to register your associate partnership with Amazon for a free of charge. Any product that promoted and suggested by, purchased by anybody else, you will have the income source coming from them. People in India earn as a passive income like 50 to 60,000 Indian rupees as a minimum. So why can't you explore that an idea? By the way, the annual turnover of Amazon worldwide is at $280 billion. In India alone, the e-commerce industries as forecasted as nearly billions of billions by 2025. And this is a way you can focus on it. And with this, I would like to, before Salim is taking up on the final the polling of polling, but I want to tell you that e-commerce will be the best. Beating the recession through an e-commerce is the best way forward going forward. And I believe in every adversity lies an opportunity. It's up to us. And I gave you a lot of examples. And I want to conclude my today's topic with an important message here is a comfort zone. What is a comfort zone for me? What is a comfort zone for all of us? One of our mindset is that comfort zone for me is that getting up in the morning, going for a job. Company asks for 8 hours, but I'm working for 10 hours. That's fine because I know my job and I'm very comfortable with that. You think that is really a comfort zone? You need to ask, because this is the time, the crisis like COVID is actually exposing our weakness, because I have known that the people who work for 15, 20 years in a company asked to leave the company because don't love your company, try to love your job. But you never know when your company stop loving you. And that is exactly what's been proved in this COVID crisis. Now, the comfort zone, what I mean is not that, working for the same job for 10 years, 15 years. For me, comfort zone is that if you are in a position to take your parents for a best doctor for a treatment, and that is a comfort zone. If you think that your children are going to the best education institution, and that is a comfort zone. If you think that you can in a position to provide the best quality life to your family, and that is a comfort zone. If you think that if you wanted to create that comfort zone, that means you need to come out from your existing comfort zone. If those existing comfort zone is not supporting you, that is the reason you need to take an initiative. Look, every successful businessman in the history, they become so successful because they came out from this comfort zone. All I wanted to tell you that successful people are those who predict the future and prepare for it, and the world will be back on track. The question on all of us, including myself, is, are we prepared to be back on track or left behind? Nobody gonna give an answer. It's an answer lies within you. Are you prepared to be back on track or left behind? We are still in the middle of crisis. There is a long way to go. There is a lot of time for you to prepare yourself. And there are many ways you can convert an opportunity into a business. So that's the reason that I am telling you it is very important to prepare yourself. Fail to plan is actually a planning to fail. If you think that I am not doing anything, that does not mean that I am actually planning to fail. If you do not prepare yourself, that means without your own intention, without in your thought, you're actually putting yourself to fail. So prepare ourselves to succeed instead of fail. I think that's the message that I want to give out to you today in my subjects. And over to you, Salim, brother.
Okay, thank you so much. Indeed, words are not enough to describe about your fantastic talk on this subject. It's going to be one of the historical sessions on Namma Okuta platform. We have flood of questions I think now it's a time for polling, the last phase of the polling. Brother Tajuddin, after the polling, we are going for Q&A session. Janab Bashir Sahib, how much time do you have? We have too many questions are flooding in.
I think you got your time. I think it's what? We started at what, 4:30?
Yes.
5:30? I think it's 1 hour. I think let's wrap it up quickly because we don't want it to people to be, spending more time. But if it's if it's very, very important for all of you, I'm more than happy to invest and spend all my time. And we are here for a purpose, and I have no problem. But just make sure that people are not spending more time for no reason.
Sure, no problem. I believe now everyone is having a poll on that screen. Can you please respond to it?
Just 10 seconds left.
Okay.
I can't see the poll.
Brother Tajuddin, can you relaunch it? If even I could not see it. Immediately after the poll, we will start question and answer session. The first questioner would be Janab Kamil. After that, Sister Safa. Please ready with your questions.
Janab Bashir, can you see the poll results?
No, I can't see anything. I can only see.
In the past, did you know that work from home could generate income? 64% of people said yes, and 36% say no.
No. What is the new poll now? Is the new poll?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. The poll is like, in the past, did you know that work from home could generate income?
Okay.
64% of the people said yes, and the rest 36% said no.
Fantastic. That means that 36% people will got an idea that indeed we can have an income source working from home.
Okay, fantastic. I think now we'll go with last poll. Brother Tajuddin, can you please launch the last poll?
Yes.
Okay. Immediately after that, we'll go for a question and answer session. Let us start from Kamil. He is waiting since very long.
Yeah, can you see the poll now?
Janab Bashir sir?
I can't see, but you have to read out, to be honest. I can't see anything, but that's fine.
Oh, that's fine.
Do you understand the concept of startups?
How much time we have?
30 seconds left. Those who
Okay.
have not polled, please poll.
Please cast your vote. We have only few seconds left. First question will be asked by Brother Kamil, then Sister Safa. I believe time is up, right? Brother Tajuddin?
Yes, 91% said yes to the poll that do you understand the concept of startup? Only 9% said no.
All right, that's overwhelming. The feedback getting an over 90% people understanding the concept of startup, that will certainly enable them to explore, become a startup entrepreneur.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think here with the closing poll, now we'll head for question and answer session. Now we have first questioner, Brother Kamil. Please go ahead with your question, Brother Kamil.
Yeah, thank you, Salim. My name is Kamil, Mr. Sharif, Mr. SM Basheer. You have given a very excellent speech, and it's the first time I'm attending this meeting. Are you able to hear now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a very good ideas you have given it, and it's I thank you for all that. In the beginning of the speech which you have given it, you have mentioned that the industries are going to be affected, as the logistics industry is one of the industries going to be affected. And do you think that this, on what basis you have come up to that perception? Number one. Number two, is it a temporary, impact, or is a long-term impact in your perception?
All right, that's the question is also related with an impact due to COVID-19.
Yes.
Of course, when you have a disruption in the global supply chain, when you put a lockdown, when you the entire supply chain is disrupted. Logistics is one of the area where a part of the global supply chains. What happened? We are a part of the globalization world. Globalization world in the sense, we consider China as a world factory. Majority of all the countries are depending on the Chinas to import items. To the extent, I'm not only referring to the manufacturing, but also the health related, all those that depending on the countries like China's. Now, what happened because of the emergency, the government has imposed a completely ban on import and export, but that's triggered a huge impact on the global supply chain, and that also part of the logistics is a part of the global supply chain. But also when the plants and the factories are shut down, definitely it will have an impact on the logistics. But on a longer run, there will be changes in the logistic and approach. The latest technologies, like of referring to the fourth industrial revolution technology, is going to play a major role in revolutionizing the logistic process. So this will have an impact in terms of optimizing the workforce. But market has to revert back. Market is certainly going to revert back. And as rightly mentioned, technology is going to play a major role. And at least for a year and a half, the impact will be there for sure. It's not just the coronavirus in impact. We have to understand that the economy has shattered in a very bad way. And perhaps this recession is beyond 2008 and 2009, deeper than 2009, perhaps worse since the Great Depression took place in 1930. So the impact will be there, and market dynamics will be changed. Industry approach will change. Logistics is a part of the industries, and of course, impact will be there.
Okay, we also thought that it is a short-term impact, and we would definitely come over. There will be resilience will be there in the market, so it will definitely make us to come back to the normalcy. Thanks a lot for your feedback.
Absolutely, technology is going to create a resilience for that. Technology is going to create a lot of the process. It's going to be a technology-driven process than the human-driven. The problem with the coronavirus is a health emergency.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. That's mine. I'm limiting my questions. I'll leave it to the rest of the participants to address it.
Thank you very much, Brother Kamil. Now it's time for question to Safa. Safa, please go ahead with your question. Sister Safa.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. I am Safa Munawara. I'm currently pursuing my final year BE in Electronics and Communication. Sir, I would like to ask you a question that you spoke about e-commerce, right? And before that, you told that we have to create a network with those people who are like-minded. Say, for example, the person before that you have said put a question in front of us that if do we have a startup plan for coming, like do we have a startup plan or the business plan or the job opportunity plan for coming 10 years? So I replied with yes, because I do have a plan and I do have an opportunity to people over here, right? And with that, I would like to ask you, sir, for example, if I want to share an opportunity with like-minded people, as you said, if I want to create my network.
Yeah, go ahead. What happened?
I think we lost Sister Safa.
Yeah, sorry. I got a call actually.
No problem. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So that was my initial question, sir. But second thing, you spoke about e-commerce, right? And you also spoke about Amazon, and you spoke about retailing. Retailing is something what I experienced because I am also retailing right now. I'm a marketer actually, right? So what I experience in retailing is, as you spoke about rejections, what people do is when they start getting rejections, even if they have their own website or if they have their own things like own products and all, they don't know how to market it. Say for example, if I have a sister, if I have a brother, right, who do not know to market it, even if they have their own products, and they get demotivated like in that, right? So my experience was like I have a lot of people uh, with me who is teaching me how to market, who is teaching me how to do the business, right, how to create a network, right? So, and also this, that as far as I know, Amazon is not an Indian company, right? Amazon is an US company, which is made by Jeff Bezos, right? So, again, I'm talking about this. Why? Because you spoke about GDP level, which is our GDP level. It has, dropped down to 18% in India, right? Obviously because of COVID-19, right? So we being marketers, we actually tell people that purchase Indian products, right? So
Sister
that
Safa,
Indian, yes, yes.
okay, can you please come to the point because we are running short of time. You can have direct questions so that we can.
Yes, sir. My question is, sir, how am I supposed to find a network? How am I supposed to know that who are the like-minded people? How am I able to get that network?
Okay, the question is that you having an interest in creating an e-commerce and becoming an entrepreneur in the e-commerce platform, and you
Yes,
wanted how exactly you wanted to know how to identify the like-minded people. There is a two segment here. One is the market, is another one is the like-minded people. What I mean like-minded people, I'm referring to your co-founders, not your consumer markets. When I say like-minded people, startup company is not all about just an individual taking initiative. If you can do it, that's there. But startup, the true definition of a startup is a group of people getting together, taking an initiatives. What I mean, a like-minded people, you really need to have those kind of like-minded people who can part of these ventures. What happened when you got the concept of setting up something in the retail, but you need to identify who can add value in making sure that your venture is taken beyond your goal. I mean, e-commerce has a scalability. You're not just only focusing on one particular area. That's how you need to find out who has that ability to contribute to become an entrepreneur. That's exactly what I mean about the like-minded people. But as far as to being very specific to answer your questions, there are a lot of ways to market your product. You got your digital platform, you have a digital marketing, you have your social media marketing. You can't build your brand overnight. You have to put a constant effort. The beauty of these e-commerce startup is not the money. The beauty is that your time is the money. You need to focus more on, and I believe the women's in our communities are a far greater chance to become a more successful because they, nature-wise, they are very dedicated and have those passions to achieve something. So there are multiple ways you can push your products, and you need to find digital marketing, which is one of the most cost-effective marketing. There are multiple ways that you can push your product. And again, I'm telling you that you can't build your brand overnight. You have to work towards that. If you